Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by Dr. Tamer Abdel Head of the Economics Department, Faculty of Commerce, Ain Shams University. Dr. Tamer, a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor. Now, President Abdel Sisi has launched the national project to develop the Egyptian rural countryside within 3 years, and Egypt has allocated 500 billion Egyptian pounds to develop 4,500 villages across the country. Tell us, Doctor, how huge is this project?
Well, this is an incredibly huge project indeed. You know, that a plan to improve an Egyptian rural areas is probably one of the most ambitious plans ever made in decades in Egypt.
Yes.
Because those 4,500 villages targeted already have about 50 million citizens living there. So the scope of such a plan is definitely really large, and it is a highly aspiring plan. The good thing is it does come at the very right time, because it goes along with all the major projects that we have been witnessing in urban areas.
Yes.
It goes along with the development of new 5,000 kilometers of connecting roads of Egyptian cities.
Yes.
And then it tackles the real problem of where the hardships of life, poverty, poor health, unemployment, they have always been localized in villages, in particular in Upper Egypt. So the rural side has to have its share of development if all of Egypt is to develop. You just can't improve life in urban cities while you ignore rural areas. You know, it just leads to more migration from rural to urban areas that can deplete all what has been going on of major projects in urban areas. So it just came at the very right time to make Egypt one big unit of development.
Right.
All together.
Indeed. Now, Doctor, 4,500 villages in 3 years only. Let's talk a bit about the need to conclude such a project in such a short period of time, especially as this project comes as the country's economic reform program has put the economy on the right track to improve growth rates, for example.
Well, you know, again, 4,500 villages is a very, very large target.
Number, yes.
But given by the number of people that live there, that's almost around half of the Egyptian population. But what they did is they divided them into 3 groups of 1,500 each, and they started already.
Yes.
So the initiative, if you look at it, has already covered, you know, within a very short span of time, almost about 140 villages, if I remember right. And those alone have about 4 million people that live in there. So they spent on that, they managed it, but what is really worth noting is, and how you see how beautiful the project is the number of ministries cooperating for such a national project. So if you look at the ones that were already done, those 100 plus 140 villages, Ministry of Planning would go in and do infrastructure projects. The Ministry of Social Solidarity would go over in participation with NGOs for some relief of most vulnerable families. You'll have the Health Ministry working in to renovate hospitals, build new facilities, offer more health care. That's at least in the early phase of development. But the second phase would be even deeper.
Indeed. Doctor?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor. Now, this project aims, as you said, to develop in a multifaceted manner to raise the capabilities of the Egyptian villages' infrastructure, covering all services, education, health, water, sanitation, etc. What are the aspects of development that will be under or taken care by the project?
Well, the core development sums up into developing human life as measured by the Human Development Index.
Yes.
To improve the lives of people. So it's health, it's education, and it is, of course, welfare, you know, the ability to earn your money.
Yes.
To earn a living. So the second phase of the program is the one that would actually focus on empowering people, empowering the citizens of those villages, in particular, the head of the families that are females, young females that are providing for their families, which is a very large phenomena in the South. Those ministers are going to provide vocational training, micro funds, micro projects, and that is in itself is the building of human capability. You don't give them the fish, you give them the stick.
Yes, you teach them.
You can, yeah.
Yes, yes. Right, Doctor, now the implementation of this mega project comes at a very critical time. We are still recovering from the still ongoing, really, coronavirus crisis, and has created challenges in the economic sector in Egypt. How do you see investment in this project now helping the country economically, supporting certain sectors, for example, as it creates more job opportunities for construction companies, workers, factories, etc.?
Well, definitely this type of government spending in rural areas is going to stimulate the economic life. What it does is it increases aggregate demand in those countries, in those regions. It increases people's spending, and it would definitely get many of the local companies engaged in those projects, building schools, building hospitals, the infrastructure projects, sanitation projects, and this type of spending has already stimulated the whole of the Egyptian economy over the last few years. Even before the corona, after the 2011 events, with the corona, it was only because of this massive spending that Egypt was able to sustain its GDP growth rates.
Yes,
of course. So it comes in at the very right time.
Absolutely. Doctor, why is this project essential for the country's sustainable development plan?
Well, as you said, in fact, this project has been listed with the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development initiative that's organized by the United Nations Development Program. And just that listing alone indicates that Egypt is incredibly serious about providing data for the whole world to identify poverty wherever it exists so that it can elevate it. So when you look at the goals of sustainable development, you are going to focus on each of them. You are providing better health care, you are providing better education, and indeed you are identifying very well and sharing that knowledge with the rest of the world so that your efforts are known and noted in fighting for sustainable development in this region. And it is, of course, crowned with the empowerment of families that live there. That is the crown jewel of the whole project that comes at its latest stage.
Indeed. This actually leads me to my next question. Speaking about the crown jewel of the project, what are the main needs of the citizens of these areas, in your opinion, Doctor?
What are the main?
Needs.
Rules?
Needs or requirements.
Oh, main needs. Okay,
yes,
main needs. Yes, of course. Well, as I said, traditionally, the localization of poverty is highly concentrated in rural areas. The poor health services available, if you notice that still you have a lot of people coming in to larger urban areas like Cairo just for the sake of treatment.
Yes.
So you will have poorer health services, bad poverty situation, traditionally living there, and you have to direct all your forces to fight it. All the major projects in the urban areas will be eaten out of people migrate from rural to urban areas. Fighting and alleviating poverty is number one, better healthcare services number two, but then if you really want to develop, number three would be education. Education. Human development starts with education after satisfying all of the others. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, of course, as you said, Doctor, sustainable development isn't just about infrastructure, etc. It's a multifaceted approach, and it's about creating a healthy and sound lifestyle for both the people and the environment that they occupy. How far are we in the Egyptian countryside towards that goal?
Well, the raising of awareness is going there. The interference of all those different government agencies and government ministries definitely help in establishing a better situation than what you already have on the ground. Yeah. So a number one goal is no poverty. When you look at what the Ministry of Social Solidarity have been doing, when you look at what the Ministry of Planning has been doing, what the Ministry of Health has been doing, alleviating the reaching the zero hunger and good health and stuff like that. That's all towards it. But the big challenge would be the quality of education and the gender equality. Yeah, you can work on the clean water, you can work on the zero hunger, you can work on the no poverty. But unless you give people the means to establish their own goals in life, the empowerment. So the real challenge here would be how would you build up the person's capability beyond health and poverty? The ability to earn income, the ability to improve his chances in life, the gender equality, which is one of the parts of the goals, and the cultural change that has to occur in the South through the Empowering Women programs. All of those goals above, are incredibly important. But
Absolutely.
The toughest two would probably be education and gender equality.
Doctor, do you see such educational programs underway now in these rural areas to start women empowerment, to start gender equality, especially that, it's not just an issue of educating, but it's a change of culture, really?
It is a change of culture. It is not timed up for the time being. This is a second phase of the program. The first phase would focus on identification, providing the necessary health services, alleviating poverty for as much as they can, providing the infrastructure and the framework in which stage number two, empowerment, can start. In this second phase, so many different ministries, up to 15 ministries, as I recall, would be involved in phase two, focusing on the empowerment concept alone.
And this involvement of so many ministries would really result in a better result or better achievement.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Right.
It's a very good project at a very good time.
Indeed.
And at a very short time frame to complete.
Right. One final question, please, Doctor. What is the role of the private sector? There should be some sort of PPP in this whole equation, wouldn't you say?
Yes, indeed. Remember that all those projects are, at the end of the day, carried out by private sector. But if you're asking about who's building, well, the ones who are building are, of course, the private sector companies financed by the government. But if you ask about social corporate responsibility, that is incredibly important at the time being. And one can witness that there is a whole lot of feeling of responsibility, even by the youngsters in Egypt, because the initiative, Decent Life Initiative, has obtained about 20,000 applications, I guess, from younger people that want to volunteer for such work. So if younger people are doing this, corporate social responsibility has to take place, of course, and I believe that with all this massive government work, they would be able to coordinate with NGOs and different companies for more to come in the next few days.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Tamer Abdel, Head of the Economics Department, Faculty of Commerce from Ain Shams University. Thank you so much, sir, for your input and your insight and joining us this afternoon. And that's all the time we have for today's edition of Cairo Local Time. We do hope you have enjoyed it. You were in the company of myself and Meher. Many thanks for watching.